If you have any question, ask me anytime. If you have any questions, if you have any questions, please ask me. Please ask me now. Please ask me now. If you have any questions, please ask me now. If there's something, just please tell me. If there's anything wrong, please tell me. If there's anything wrong, please tell me. If there's anything wrong, if there's anything wrong, if there's anything wrong, please tell me. If there's anything wrong, please tell me. I'm done. I have done what you asked. 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 I decide to take travel. I decide to take a trip. I would 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 decide to take a trip. I always think about I have always been think about my future. I've been thinking 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 about my future. I've been hear about you. I've heard a lot 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 about you. This is best funny story that I have heard. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. This is funniest thing. This is funniest thing I've ever heard. This is the funniest story I've ever heard. This is the funniest story I've ever heard. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. This is the funniest story I've ever heard. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. This is best movie I've never seen. I've ever seen. This is the best film. This is the best film I've ever seen. This is the best film I've ever seen. This is the funniest film I've ever seen. Have you heard of him before? 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 Have you been to the Roma? Have you ever been to Roma? Have you ever been to Roma? Have you ever been to Roma?